night, evening, whatever time it is for you guys. Uh, we're back again, Jackson Bryan and right on time, Randy Savage again. Vamos, my friend.
Vamos, my friend. How are you doing on this fine Sunday night?
I'm tired. I'm in pain. Everything. But
Was that about the performances today?
yeah, I didn't do it in my yard based on the time the game was on. I was in the house, and then I worked out afterwards, and I've just woken up the whole upper body basically useless. So I'm never gonna make a bet like that again because, well, the US probably send out their C team again. But that's where we're gonna stop. Good performance yesterday. Can't say we didn't play well. Um, what can I say? The pressing was good from the Reggae boys. Like the passing was okay. I could just stay and just wax lyrical about Demarai Gray because he is the best player that we have right now, and you could see the effort and everything. You could see the talent in him, and that was just good. I mean, what that I'll just pose it to you. But what was your initial thoughts? I know you didn't see the full match, or your initial thoughts on say the highlights of it.
Well, certainly I was very impressed with the way how we carried the ball when we had possession. We knew that Halgrimson never went into that game with the intention of pushing on the acceleration, and being the runners. Of course, when the US and Jamaica play, we're always on a defensive battle against them. Now, what I like the most about this team is, as you said, massive props to Demarai Gray on his debut as well, putting in a performance better than Leon Bailey has ever done in the shirt. Bailey, I'm still pissed about that penalty miss, by the way.
Mm.
I don't know how you managed that. This ain't Villa, bro. Calm down, crazy gentleman. But bro, I'm not even gonna grill him too much. I'm not even gonna grill him too much. I just think that he just does too much when he plays first. When he plays for Villa, he's just calm, simple. Especially against Manchester United. Why is it against us? When he decides to actually become a professional footballer, I don't get it.
I
But
said
but- sorry, go ahead.
no. I'm just saying we remember we had the discussion last night before the match, and I said that was the only time he actually performed this season. Apart from us was Brighton on the final day.
Yeah, you get me. And I'm not even gonna criticize him too much because to step up and to take a penalty is a lot of pressure, right? And I know a lot of fans are gonna say, "Oh man, come on, all you have to do is score." Not that easy, all right? And at the end of the day, although it did cost us a win, as I said before, a draw would have been a positive result going into this match. Anything less than 2-0 is what I claim to be a positive result. No, that was a really good result. I was especially impressed with Adrian Mariappa. He actually played well. I know I criticized his inclusion into the lineup early on because of how old he was.
We all kind of slated him, didn't we? You know what Fry said, one of the uncles in the team, one of the uncles, man. But Mariappa played like he just got off the plane. He's fresh off of being 25 again, and he's lined up for Watford against who's Watford local town, right? Let's say he lined up for Watford against Crystal Palace in a big 6 pointer. That's how he played last night. I mean, he didn't put a foot wrong, any at all. Didn't put 1 foot wrong at all. Shout out to Damian Lowe. He was Fry's pick yesterday anyway to be man of the match. So shout out to him. He scored the opening goal. Good dance at the end. As a Jamaican, we have to be able to dance. Not like the Ravens, but what I mean. Uh, Lembikisa, really solid game. Apart from him being the guy who kind of cost us that equalizer. Should have been up 2-0 anyway. Doesn't matter. Amari Bell, I have to touch on him as well because he was having a really good, solid game. But yeah, he had to come off with an apparent injury. Stretchered off, actually, not just subbed off. Tax Lawrence came on, did well. Um, we got to look at the rest of the team. The midfield was actually really good. Lottie Badier, and also Lambert performed very, very reasonable. Bailey, what else can we say about Leon Bailey? And Mikel Antonio didn't actually perform until the second half.
Yeah, but bro was Cristiano for the first and Drogba for the second. I don't get that. I don't get that, man. But it is what it is. He is getting up in the age. We got him a little bit too late, but that's fine. Still part of the show. The show must go on. We are in a group with the United States, Trinidad, and one other team. What are they?
It's St. Kitts, and fun fact, Trinidad are actually top of the group right now. They beat St. Kitts 3-0 today. 3 So we have to beat them when it comes to when we do play Trinidad on Wednesday evening. It's a virtual 6 pointer. We can't afford to draw there because there's no guarantees we do beat St. Kitts. I mean, after that performance, you think so, but come on, lads, we are Jamaica.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, and just some other cause there were some other things within that game actually that I
It
wanted to
in
bring
the
to you. There were some other things in the game like we spoke about Antonio at one point. There were some people, I was talking as a United person. There were people just telling me that, hey, he's just like Veghorst. I couldn't disagree because he didn't serve a purpose. He was big. He was supposed to win the headers. He was supposed to be physical, but he didn't. So he was virtually like Veghorst last night. Second half much better because he was running into the channels. Bailey was on the flank. Um, in a way, we were 4-4-2, but 4-2-3-1 at the same time because we never really had two strikers. Does the question is Antonio playing at that level for us still? Can we succeed like that? Can we progress with Antonio there? If he keep, I know he played good second half, but can we progress?
You see, the thing is with Michael Antonio, whether we like it or not, he is our best striker. Even if he's not performing, it's kind of like a team awareness situation at Chelsea. Even if you're not performing, you are the best. They have to start you, or else there's just no source of goals or attacking spark. With him, I think that we progress. We progress as a team. We have a seasoned veteran who constantly plays against the best defenders in the world, minus Van Dijk. But the rest of them are actually decent defenders, and he has to be scoring. He has to be muscling them up and learning, picking up tricks or two. At the very least, at the very least, starting him will give us a front runner when it comes to some of these other defenders who aren't up to scratch to the standard of the Prem, as well as he will serve as a mentor to our younger players. I fully believe that Jamal Lowe should be given a run in this team. I think he do well. I fully believe that Whisper or Dejon Richards deserves a run in this team. He Bailey, sorry, Antonio would be like a James Milner to the squad, perhaps. While he doesn't necessarily need to start every single game, it's just you miss him if he doesn't start. It's just you genuinely miss him. It's like your ex girlfriend on a Wednesday night. You're sitting down alone in your house. You're gonna miss her. Come on, bro. You get me?
On a
That
Wednesday,
was a weird analogy, sir.
on a Wednesday night. Why a Wednesday night?
Well, because Wednesday's the middle of the week, and that's the hardest part of the week is the middle. You know,
Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything about that. Yeah. So we spoke about Leon and how he only performed against Man United in a Villa shirt, and even right now he's still not performed in a Jamaica jersey, and we don't have that elusive first win on the Algorithm. Leon had a chance to put us up 2-0 twice, twice like Pep, twice, um, and he messed up both times.
twice.
He had he was awful. He did not have that much a good game. There were people telling me that Leon is Jamaica's best talent in decades, and I'm like, hang on a minute. Well, Ravel Morrison is Jamaican, and there are Man United fans who still hoped he could have played even 2 years ago for them. I mean, and when I watched Gray yesterday, the talent level of him alone, it's off the chain compared to Leon. Um, do you think down to his position? I know that Emery plays him as a centre forward recently in the Villa front line along with Watkins. But do you think he's just not adept to playing that way in this team, or does he have to stay on the right or left or on the flank in general?
As I said, I think Bailey just overthinks it too much. I don't think it necessarily has to do with the position, but also the fact that he's playing against seasoned professionals who play this game at a very high level every single week in, week out, multiple times to the week in a lot of cases. You know, he's playing in Europe now, so he's gonna have those extra games on a Thursday night. Um, but yeah, it's 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 the standard of quality and play is surely different because while he has players in Villa that can ping balls right on his feet and he can probably score. Jamaica just doesn't have that level of quality yet, and I think he overthinks it. I think that he's trying to be. I think that he's trying to be a Ronaldo in a past Manchester United squad. He's taking all the pressure on his shoulders and not realizing that it's a team game. You get me? Um, as you said, he needs to look at Demarai Gray. Demarai Gray steps in one game and instantly becomes a fan favorite. Why? Because while he still has a lot of expectations on him, he doesn't overcomplicate things. He plays good football. He was just relegated for crying out loud from the Prem, and he's still playing better football than a man who finished seventh. Come on, bro. Come on, man. I think what Bailey needs to do right now is to just sit down in a little corner, take a deep breath, and say to himself that this is not England, this is not Villa, this is Jamaica. I want to pass the Dutchie on the left hand side, and I want to play football. And I want to score. No matter what I do, I have to score. And no matter what I do, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, Leon, when you talk about overthinking it, I think that is the main thing. If you ever realize, I think maybe due to having players like Douglas Luiz, Ollie Watkins, hell, even Tyrone Mings and Alex Moreno, to an extent, you could say Ashley Young as well, because he is a quality player. You have those people around you, and then you come here with Jamaica, you see Latibode, who you probably never heard of, Kevin Lambert, who you probably never heard of. You know Michael Antonio, but you know his deficiencies. Uh, Maybe that's a factor. Bailey's start process and everything. Maybe that is a major issue. Um, but Bailey isn't the only player who actually underperformed yesterday, right? You could even say Bobby Reed, because believe me, I didn't remember Bobby Reed was on the right hand side. I had to keep reminding myself that Bobby Reed was on the right hand side. And that's a main issue, because if our wingers can't keep their fullbacks in the defensive third, what's the point of the wingers then? Especially if we do play a 4-4-2, it's going to get really, really confusing and really, really dangerous. Um, Last night, Ferreira, the front man for America, Jordan Morris, and I think the other one was Eden. They played right through. They played right through Jamaica very easily. Heroes from Blake. I mean, if you know me, you saw when I posted that Blake is better than Thibaut Courtois. I stand by that after that performance last night. It was a really, really good performance from Andre Blake. It's sad he didn't get the clean sheet. We still don't have a win in a year. Still none on the Hallgrimson. It's um it's frustrating, especially as Jamaican supporters, as a couple of you in the chat. Um, I don't know how we can continue like this. We need to be winning games. I know it's just the first one. It's America. It's the toughest one. We gotten that out of the way, and we gotten a point. We at least need to finish on 7 points now, because Trinidad and St. Kitts, are below America, hence they're below us. And we have to keep that mentality and get into those games. Now, if we lose to Trinidad, that's a huge setback, massive setback in the entire progression. Because if then we'd have to put everything on the St. Kitts and Nevis game. At that point, America are probably already on 6 points, waiting to go through. Trinidad, they're on six now. You would have to hope there's no one draws in that one, and even so, he's still out. Yeah, that's just 4 points, right? So it's a must-win game in the next one. I don't know where's Savage. He's always doesn't pay his light bill much. Yeah, but another thing with that game yesterday, I don't know if anybody else picked up on it, but the referee last night, referee was absolute horrendous. You know, he was horrendous last night. There were a lot of missed calls. There were a lot of listen. There were fouls that were not fouls. Damien Lowe got booked in the 3rd minute for winning the ball. The ref was horrible. Sav, you back?
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. My mom called, you know. Can't really turn her down.
Okay. Okay.
And, yeah.
All right. No, I was
What were
just
you saying?
I was just saying that the ref performance yesterday was really, really horrendous. With the calls, some of the calls he was making. If you can,
It's
oh,
typical. We said this yesterday, I think, as well. Every time the US plays against Jamaica, there are a lot of symbolic refereeing decisions against us. It's just crazy. I don't know if they just have something against us in general, or if they just generally try to piss off the good loving Jamaicans that we are. But, but man, come on, man. Like, they're on par with British refs, and that's saying something. You have to be a special level of bad to be on par with British refs.
yeah, it really wasn't good. I mean, even with Amari Bell that we spoke with a bit earlier, um, Bell, he went down, he got up and he was walking off, and the ref literally pushed him back onto the stretcher to get him off of the pitch. Literally pushed him back onto the stretcher to get him off. And, Bell was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I just don't know, man. These CONCACAF refs do get on our nerves, man. They get on our nerves. But as I was saying, just the last point for me, actually, um, the next game against Trinidad, it is a must win. Because if we do lose that game, we can count ourselves out. Because at that point,
Ah,
America
man.
would be on 4 points. If they beat St. Kitts, they'll be on 4 points. Trinidad would be on six. And all America would need is a draw to go through. And we know they're good enough to beat Trinidad. We will go into the St. Kitts game, win, but what's the point? What's the magnitude of that Trinidad game coming up on Wednesday night compared to any other game we've ever done in the past, even going to the World Cup?
Well, certainly it's going to be a very tough group for us. You know, Trinidad is arguably second or third in the Caribbean region, and the US obviously is arguably top three in the entire CONCACAF region. Now, Trinidad are on 3 points. You know, we have to make sure that we win this game because if we don't, we can almost certainly guarantee that the United States beat Turkey. That would put them on four. We need to ensure that we beat Trinidad to put us on four. And then at the very least, Trinidad needs to come through and beat the United States, right? Because I want to see the US go. I want to see them suffer. I want to see them cry. I want to see the Americans go ball like they're eagles. You get me? And really and truly, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very tough. Trinidad, they're not just gonna come and lay down and let us have their way with them. They're gonna be fighting. They're gonna be clawing. They're gonna be taking stock, trying to, it's the battle of the ages. It's always been the most intense matchup in all of Caribbean football. Jamaica and Trinidad. It's on par with Jamaica and Haiti, if not a little bit stronger. I expect a really good match there on Wednesday. I expect a really good match. Hopefully I'll be able to watch it while up in the air. For those who don't know, I'm actually leaving soon to Ireland. I mean, um, but yeah, Jackson. That's all I have to say about it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Spurs play against
Yeah, man. And listen, safe flight and everything, but yeah, we'll soon be turning over to you. It's just gonna be a quick one. We're just reacting to this. Staff, we deprived him of his slaughterhouse yesterday. He's gonna have his chance today. Final thoughts, Demarai Gray. How much of prime 2017 Cristiano Ronaldo did he look like yesterday?
again, please. Can you say that again,
Yeah, I'm saying Demarai Gray's performance. How much of it was like prime 2017 Noodle here Ronaldo?
Jackson?
I'll, I guess he's having a hard time. We'll just go into a break and we'll see if we can work that out. And we'll be back in about 5 seconds. Right, and we are back. Savage Slaughterhouse time. Sav, over to you. Iffy.
Well. Here we are again. Welcome back to the Savage Class House. As you know, I'm your host, Randy Savage, accompanied by Jackson Brand himself. And yes, today it's gonna be short and spicy. Kind of like Lisandro Martinez. But we jump things off, heading straight to the Scouse, to the most Scouse part of England that you can imagine. And we're talking about Newcastle United, the club that has been united from Newcastle East End and Newcastle West End have unitedly gotten one of the greatest Italian players to ever live the game, Alessandro Del Piero. I'm joking. They've gotten Sandro Tonali on a £70 million deal. So from AC Milan, I know AC Milan need money, Jackson, right? There are also add-ons that I'm not really aware of the positions on those. But yeah, Jackson, I want you to give me a rating on this deal out of 10. Do you think it works out? Personally speaking, amazing business. Amazing business from Newcastle to get this player for that sort of money. I think he slots right into the midfield with Bruno Guimaraes right now, and I'm confidently saying this. Newcastle possibly have the best midfield in the entire Premier League right now. And I'm saying that with my chest though. That's what do you make of this whole segment of transfer?
Listen, I could say the same exact thing. Newcastle with Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes shows how good he was over the last season and a half. It's really good. I mean, obviously Tonali replaces Longstaff. They still have Willock in that position, but if they do get a James Maddison or a Dominic Szoboszlai, then they do have the best midfield in the league, and I can say that we could both say that proudly. It's just all talent. Even if they get Arda Güler, it's one of the best midfields in the Premier League itself. Um, but no, this rating for this transfer, you got to say it's a 10 out of 10. For Newcastle, just coming up back into the Champions League, getting Italy, probably Italy's best holding midfielder. Maybe some people think Locatelli is better. Um, but man, Sancho Tonali apparently didn't want to leave Milan. Apparently Milan, everything went bad since Maldini left. and they're just forcing people out now. So, maybe Milan is a shopping market or something, but you could possibly go in and get a player there. But this rate, this is a 10 out of 10 transfer for Newcastle, and they're going to be one of the best teams to look out for next season.
All right. And saying that, moving straight on from that onto Manchester City. Manchester City signing Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea for 25 million pounds. Sorry, 30 million pounds. On a 2-year deal with $5 million in add-ons. This is the reports that I'm seeing. Jackson, I know Pep doesn't necessarily need him. Similarly to how Pep Guardiola doesn't necessarily need Declan Rice. But why do you think Pep wants him? Like, why do you think Pep wanted Mateo Kovacic? It's a very weird transfer. I know you want midfield depth, having just lost Ilkay Gundogan to Barcelona. But Kovacic, I mean, it's a bit strange. What do you make of this transfer? Before we move on to the penultimate topic.
Listen, I think Mateo Kovacic, even though he had a really poor season last season, like all the Chelsea squad, he's still a good player. I think Pep still
Minus
realizes
Sterling.
there's still talent within Kovacic. There's still that player there that he can get a tune out of. And yeah, the midfield now, it's De Bruyne, Rodri, and Bernardo Silva. They don't really have any backup options, if you want to count Calvin Phillips. But they don't really have much midfielders, and if there's an injury, then the whole team could implode. Now Pep is have to keep his options up. He has to keep everything up. Bernardo Silva might leave, so he has to look out for that as well. Um, they're in for Declan Rice. They're trying to rebuild the midfield that they're going to lose. They're trying to rebuild the whole team, even though they just won the treble, which is a bit scary. But for this, I mean, Kovacic, I didn't see this one coming. It just came out of nowhere and got completed before I knew it.
And what came out of nowhere as well, and I'm kind of a master of smooth transitions here. What came out of nowhere as well was that absolute ridiculous asking price for a certain Mason Mount. 1 year, 1 year in his contract, and Chelsea asking for an arm, a leg, and a tooth from Manchester United. Manchester United taxes real. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if Kovacic, if Havertz on 2 years, 2 years on his deal, is only worth 65 million. What makes them think we're gonna pay 58 million and 8 million in add-ons for Mason Mount when he only has 12 months on his contract? Manchester United tax is real. Chelsea, have that, you pagans. You're gonna get him next summer, and we're gonna steal the transfer target. Have that. Jackson, what do you make of this awful situation?
Listen, that's all I could say about that. That is all I could say about that as well. Because, I mean, remember originally they wanted around 70 million for Mason Mount with 1 year left. They sold Havertz with no problem. They sold Kovacic with no problem. But I think it's due to the history of Man United with transfers. I don't want to get much into Mount because we spoke about Mount a bit yesterday. But it's the history of United with transfers. We always cave in and end up paying fees. You see it with Harry Maguire, you see it with Jadon Sancho. You even see it with Paul Pogba back in the day. But like this one was just extra ridiculous. I don't think even the incompetence of United would have fell for this one because I mean, with 45, I think is the best offer for Mason Mount with a year left. If he had 2 years, 70 mil, we'd negotiate that down. But 45 was a good thing. 50, it's a stretch. When we put 50 plus 5, take it and run because you're not getting anything over that. And they're still pressing the luck. Now, okay, Mount will stay at Chelsea. He'll take all your money. He'll put in average performances. He'll leave on a free. He'll sign for us. We might just go out, get, I don't know, Rabiot and Caicedo right now. It really doesn't look good on Chelsea because they'll have a player. They need to clear the squad. They'll have one extra space that they don't need. And then they'll lose that space next season. He'll get his move. You lose your midfield target. And then you start from scratch again. I mean, I don't get where clubs come off like this. Don't get it.
It's crazy, man. Like, just take it and run. And you know, one other thing, I was thinking the other day, and this has nothing to do with the show, but I want to talk to you about this maybe tomorrow or something. But Emil Smith Rowe, what happened to Smith Rowe? Wasn't he Arsenal's kid before Saka? I don't know. It's somebody. Please tag me in the comments, right? Tag me in the comments at Randy underscore Sting on Twitter, at GZ underscore Sports on Twitter. Please let me know what happened to Emil Smith Rowe. Because it's almost like he just fell off the face of the galaxy, not the face of the earth, just the galaxy. It's like he doesn't exist anymore. I don't understand. But moving on to the final topic of the day, and it's another wild card getting chucked in here today. And I want your opinions. Antoine Griezmann apparently has a release cost of less than 25 million. Saudi clubs are trying to trigger it, but the player wants to stay at Atletico. Do you think a good enough offer from any Premier League team tempts him? Griezmann is an excellent player, right? World Cup winner, World Cup runner-up medal, Champions League runner-up medal. Um, won La Liga, I believe, because he played for Barca when they won it, or did no? Did he? I don't even remember, but he's been a decent La Liga player. Certainly one for the history books. Jackson, he's not that old. Let's be real. He's what? Only like 32, 33 years old.
About
He
that.
still has 2 more years. He still has about 2 or 3 more years left in him. For 25 million pounds, or 20 million pounds, which is his release clause, could you see any Premier League team taking him up and making a chance? I mean, shirt sales alone surely triples the money that you make. Jackson, what do you make of this transfer? Do you think it could work for the final topic of today?
I mean, based on the position he plays, because he's no longer a winger or a striker. He's more of a number 10 attacking midfielder as we've seen for France.
And
You
he's
could
done well.
Yeah, he's done well. You could say maybe a Newcastle, maybe Emery would like to bring him into Villa to improve the all-round squad. Um, the top clubs in England, well, Newcastle is a top club, but the other top clubs, I don't see them moving for Antoine Griezmann. I don't see him moving in La Liga. If he wants to stay in Atletico, I think that when it comes to his release clause, his choice is final. But I mean, come on, it's you, Ronaldo. I think they're gonna sign Brozovic. That does sound like a good team, you know. That does sound like a good team. You know, you make yourself a good ton of money right now in this back in their career. You retire, you have generational wealth for your family. But when it comes to other teams, hey, listen, the MLS could come in, but we're not talking about outside Europe. We're talking about the other teams, and I don't see any other English team actually could pose a good or a credible outlook for Antoine Griezmann. I mean, Everton or one of those teams, West Ham might actually want him, but he wouldn't want them, and that's the whole point. That's that's a problem.
All right, fair enough. You heard the man speak. And speaking of speak, I will speak now. That one failed. I'm sorry. Well, that is the end of the show today. I just know it's a very short one. Not really hitting the time, but it's just supposed to be a post match reaction.
Mm.
And we just talked in a status start off to the latest tweet to all of you fellas out there listening. Jackson, anything you want to say to the fans before we wrap up today, tonight?
Yeah, no, just get like, follow, subscribe, whatever. Um, Pre-game show would not be on this on Wednesday. We'll be back on Spreaker and Google Podcasts, wherever you used to listen on anyway. We'll be back on that on Wednesday. I mean, I think the video still comes up on YouTube either way. So you'll hear the pre-game show will be short, about 10-15 minutes for the game against Trinidad. Um, we could see some bigger names going to Saudi Arabia. We could see some Jamaicans going to Saudi Arabia. We don't know yet. We'll watch and see the developments. But again, thanks again for tuning in. Savage has some issues, as he did have last night as well. But he's gotten those worked out. And we'll be back again live on Sunday for the final group game. We'll bring back Fry to host that one. And we'll see you guys next time.
Ramos.
Ingat tahu di Discord Doing video blind tour. Like and subscribe to more. Big Chucks, Brian, and the Savage Metal, OGZ Sports. Doing video blind tour. Like and subscribe some more. Big Chucks, Brian, and the Savage Metal,